Sometimes you do something for a living, but never get credit for it. And sometimes you do something for a living, but never admit responsibility. But in today's video, the blenders over at Jim Beam are taking full responsibility and getting full credit, because this is Knob Creek Blenders Edition. Oh, yeah! Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today we have the Knob Creek Blenders Edition, a $48.99 Blenders Edition special from the Jim Beam Distillery. America. Weirdly enough, the blenders over at Jim Beam have never taken responsibility for a small batch of Knob Creek until now. They were so happy with this and the way it turned out, they looked up the ladder towards the bigwigs at Beam Suntory and they were like, hey, I can see up your pants and you got a lot of balls not giving me credit for my blending. We're really proud of this and we'd appreciate a nice slap on the ass publicly. And that's exactly what they got. A slap on the ass with consent. A sweet bourbon blend crafted with hand-selected barrels of Knob Creek to highlight rich vanilla and confectionery notes, bottled exactly as our blenders intended. From the blending room, expertly crafted by the blenders of Knob Creek, united by their passion, precision, and unwavering pursuit of big, bold flavor. The standard 9-year blend comes in at 100 proof. This Blenders Edition gets a bump in age up to 10 years and a bump in proof up to 106. And they didn't just carefully blend this batch of hand-selected barrels. No, they meticulously blended it. So you know they mean business. I know what I was thinking when I saw this. What's the big deal? Gonna be a 10-year-old Knob Creek. It's gonna be nutty. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a Kentucky bourbon staple that is just another iteration, another side quest of the Jim Beam Distillery, right? Maybe not. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe I should look at myself in the mirror and headbutt myself in the face. I'll get 7 years of bad luck, have to replace a mirror, and probably receive several stitches, but I might just deserve all of that for not believing that Blenders Edition from Knob Creek could be all that. As I give this Knob Creek Blenders Edition a trip around the whiskey glass, a little bit of a ride on the whiskey tilt-a-swirl, little SJ, little spin job, little swirl job, getting this whiskey a bit dizzy. While I do that, I would like to point out that I have read that Knob Creek Blenders Edition uses a different mash bill than traditional Knob Creek, but I don't think that Jim Beam has ever publicly actually addressed and commented on their official bourbon mash bill. But if the rumors are true, this has slightly more corn and slightly less malted barley. Do I believe those rumors? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but during a recent visit to my doctor, my primary care, she's a physician's assistant. She's not even a doctor herself, but she told me that I was morbidly obese, and I said, listen, I'm not an eye doctor, but even I can see that. So maybe that makes me more of a doctor than I think. Anyway, where was I? The nose on the Blenders Edition, although it does maintain some of the nuttiness from the Jim Beam distillate, the nuttiness that you get from the Knob Creek small batches and the Knob Creek single barrels that hover around the 9-year mark, the nutty profile on this isn't as dry nutty and isn't as like peanut shell and isn't as in your face. This is much sweeter. This is like one of those peanut butter and company peanut butters that mix in different things with the peanut butter to make the peanut butter taste like peanut butter, but peanut butter with other stuff like chocolate or white chocolate or cinnamon or friggin'. This is more like a delicious honey roasted peanut with a dash of cinnamon. A very creamy aroma to it, a very sweet and delicious smelling nose. This is a very candy bar nose, and going back to the obesity thing, I know a thing or two about candy bars. It's like the old Mars bar. Remember the Mars bar? If you don't remember the Mars bar, then you're just not old enough to remember it. The nose, not grainy, doesn't smell young. not super oaky, doesn't smell old. It just smells like tremendous, well-aged Kentucky bourbon. Knob Creek Blender's Edition, number 1 down the hatch. Oh, that is lovely. That is lovely. This is hitting right. I had to give myself some time with this bottle, obviously, as you can see by the fill level. I had to taste through it on several occasions. Going into tonight, I thought that this bourbon was gonna receive a ridiculously high score. After the first sip, I think that that score might be more reasonable than I initially expected. It is very good. It is pleasing me in the ways that I love to be pleased. A tickle here, a poke there. Second sip. Not a thin whiskey. It's also not a super oily whiskey. In the middle proof, in the middle age, in the middle viscosity. There are a lot of people out there, including me, who might look at this bottle and taste it and enjoy it so much that they say, hey, that's my go-to thing for if I want to drink after work. Some people call it an everyday pour, but that makes you sound like an alcoholic. What I instead would call a bottle like that is something like a bottle that you would go to often, but not often enough where you or loved ones would think you had a problem, but almost to that point. I'm happy that I waited to review this because I was more excited about it than I should have been. This is very good. However, I was kind of gearing up to throw this thing in the great category. A great bourbon. Great scores aren't easy to get around here. And going into tonight, I was thinking that after tasting it on camera, I might just throw an 8 point something out there. But I came to my senses. I took a few sips. I'm sitting here thinking about it and dealing with it, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. But I'm not liking it enough to go completely crazy and give it some dipshit score that I'm gonna regret later. No. Dipshit is still gonna score it, but with a clearer head on my shoulders. Knob Creek Blender's Edition, number 1. Not sure if they're gonna do more or not, but the first iteration of this Blender's Edition, I'm a huge fan of, and I hope they continue the line. Tonight, this bottle receives a score from me of 7.69. 7.69. It is very good. Of course, on the channel, when I give scores to these whiskeys, the scores don't at all take price into consideration. I'm not considering the affordability of this bottle when I give it a score. The score is strictly based on the bourbon. With that being said, 7.69 is a great score if you consider the price. Under 50 bucks. Hells yeah. That's gonna do it for this video. That's gonna do it for this review. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. For goodness sakes. My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on getting your hair cut and then really looking at yourself in the mirror afterwards to realize if it's a good haircut or not. I went to the Great Clips the other day and they gave me an average clip, and then I came home and I hated it. I didn't know why. Turns out sideburns over here were big and fluffy still. I had trimmed here, and then my hair started there, and then they cut the hair, but then they didn't fade it in, and I walked around for like 2 days looking like friggin'. But then I trimmed them down in my mirror. Personally, I did it myself. I didn't even charge myself anything. I did it for free, and I was much happier with it. But what the heck are we doing? What are we doing here? They call themselves Great Clips, but the clips I've had there, and there's been a lot of clips, and maybe only a handful have been great. The rest have been scarily bad to average.